is loud. Well, you guys see the ZL1 behind me, but this is not the way I wanted to make this video. Let's get right to it. Welcome back, guys. I know it's been a minute and we've got the ZL1 here. You've guys seen the title. It's not the way that I wanted to show you guys this video, but had some technical difficulties with the camera, lost all my footage. But it's okay, because today we're going to hit on all the highlights, key points, things to watch out for, and what to do when you install your long tube headers on the ZL1. And I will also go ahead and, of course, give you guys that sound clip. But before we get to all of that, guys, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to each and every one of you guys that support the channel, that watch the videos, that give it a thumbs up, comment on there. Thank you so much. We keep growing and growing. We're over 6,000 subscribers now, which is amazing. Never thought we'd get there. So if you like the ZL1 content and if you like what you see here on the channel, make sure to hit the like button, consider subscribing, and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with everything we do. The car, of course, just got the long tube headers, and I'm not going to let you guys wait. Let's go ahead and show you guys what this sounds like. Man, this thing is loud, guys. And we did keep the NPP dual mode exhaust in the back, so it actually can get quieter. And man, I will say though, we did do the 2-inch speed engineering headers with the 3-inch speed engineering mid pipe, which basically made this a full free-flowing exhaust. And man, on 93, this thing is very, very smoky back here. Of course, we do still need to get a data log, which we'll be doing today, so that we can get an update to the tune revision. But man, it sounds really good. It sounds even better when you floor it. Of course, today is all about what you need to know when you're installing these headers, what to look out for, and what to keep an eye out in doing the header install on the ZL1. All right, now look here, and you guys can see basically we've got ceramic coated 2-inch headers with speed engineering plug wires and some new spark plugs. I ran this setup on my white SS and had very good results, so that is really, really promising. And guys, let's just say this actually took a lot longer than expected. This video should have been out maybe a week and a half or two ago, but I did everything in my garage. I did, of course, use these quick jacks, the BL7000EX, and they were great. Had the car, was able to raise it up and down, and had plenty of clearance down below to do what I needed to do. Now, some key things that we're having to do here, guys, is all about prep. Now, I did have to remove these covers, remove them on both ends to give us some extra space. Removed obviously all the plugs, wires, and removing the factory exhaust is actually not too difficult. Very easy to do. It's just a bunch of bolts, and there's clearance under the car to get them to drop out or pick them up over the top. On the driver's side, you do want to go ahead and remove this coolant tank, which looks like we're a little bit low. Probably top that off a little bit, but you just have this 10mm bolt here, and I disconnect this main hose back here, put a plug, clamp it down, and actually bring this whole thing up to the front. And I did that in my previous header install, which you guys can check out. I'll link it up here in the corner, and you guys can look at when I did it on the SS. Now, like I said, I recorded a lot of the install, but was not able to get any video because my memory card broke. So this is now just me talking to you guys. But on the ZL1 specifically, and I'm not sure if that's with the 2-inch headers or across the board, but with the ZL1 specifically, guys, getting these speed engineering 2-inch headers to go install on the passenger side required that we removed the motor mount. So yeah, that's right, we had to remove the motor mount. Now it sounds a lot more harder than it is, but you are just going to need a nice swivel mounted ratchet and a jack to kind of jack the car up and be able to separate the two-piece motor mount. Very easy. Probably should have gone with aftermarket motor mounts, but didn't really have an issue with it. Just took one little extra step there to remove the motor mount, and once we did that, we loosened up the starter, removed the heat shield, and was able to lift up and bring it from the bottom up, and it worked perfectly. Had no issues. Now, one thing you want to do is, before you tighten up the header to the head, just get it to just kind of be a couple threads in, so where it's being held, and then go under the car and go ahead and tighten and reinstall your starter and the heat shield while the header still has some play. Because if not, if you tighten the header up all the way, you will not be able to get that heat shield on the starter. And that is one thing that a lot of people complain about when they do headers. They usually take the heat shield off, they don't put it back on, and then after driving the car, especially in a hot temperature, the starter will start to actually go bad and they're gonna have issues with that. So the starter heat shield, very important. Make sure you guys get it done. The only way to put it back on is if you leave the header loose before you tighten it up. Do the heat shield down below. So we did all that, took care of everything, and this is where it got a little dicey. This is where it should have taken, we should have been done in about a day, about 6 to 7 hours, but instead it took us 2 weeks. And that's because on the driver's side, guys, when installing my header bolts, putting everything up, the very back bolt got kind of cross-threaded, and I went through a whole ordeal. I removed the bolt, I chased the bolt to clean up the threads, and then I put a thread chaser in the head to kind of clean it up, and ended up actually bottoming out the thread chaser and breaking the bit in the head. Yeah, that's right, I ended up breaking a bit, a hardened steel bit in the header bolt head. So unfortunately, the only resort here that I had was to go ahead and get this thing put all up, finished all up. I installed them, basically installed everything, midsection, mid pipe, everything, X pipe, and just left that bolt out and just took it down to excessive racing engines. I posted that on my Instagram, so maybe you guys have caught that. If you guys saw that, Instagram is down in the description below. I usually post a few things there before the videos, but yeah, if you guys caught that video of where the car was at excessive, they weren't doing the header install. I did that myself, but what they were doing is correcting my mistake, and they basically had to remove the whole supercharger, remove the head, and have them get that bolt extracted, get the thread chaser extracted and rethreaded, and now it's back to 100%. And like always, guys, I love the attention to detail from Excessive, because they are basically get this car looking just like if nobody had ever touched it. I mean, everything here is amazing, looking great, just like if nobody had ever touched it, but yet they had to remove basically intake, supercharger, and the head on the driver's side to get that taken care of. So I tried to save myself money, and I've done the header install before, and unfortunately I had to end up paying more money to get this thing repaired and done properly. Now all we have to do is do some data logging, make sure that everything is kind of good to go. There's no check engine lights, nothing like that. So we got a data log, get the car dialed in with the new headers, because that does change your airflow, and then we can go ahead and get this thing back to the track. I'm super excited about that, because that means we're gonna get to go see how this car does with the headers. We've already been 10.3s at 133. Will we get to 9.9 at like 137? I don't know, we'll see. Let me go ahead and show you guys what it sounds like with the different modes. You guys heard it already at the beginning of the video in sport mode. We're gonna go ahead and change these settings and put it in tour so that you guys can see what it sounds like when we have it with the valves closed. So I should go ahead and put it in stealth, which completely closes the valves. And let's go ahead and give this thing a remote start with the valves closed. So here we go. So much more tame, and it's still pretty loud. I mean, you can still hear it. It's nothing too crazy, but definitely a lot tamer, guys. And whenever we give it throttle, Whew. This thing roars. Well, there you have it, guys. That is how this thing sounds. It is amazing, and I can't wait to get it dialed in on E85, which we're gonna go do right now. So let's go ahead. We're gonna get the laptop, get the data logs, and get the data logger, and we're gonna go do a few pulls and show you guys what that sounds like, and also kind of see where the car is. We obviously have a much different airflow path for the whole engine, so it does require a tune update. So let me go get the laptop set up and we'll go for a drive. Okay, so we've got the car set up, we've got the laptop connected, HP tuners connected. Now, real quickly, when you data log, your tuner will give you the recommendation on how to data log. So definitely recommend you ask your tuner first what methods, what settings, which ways your tuner wants you to data log. Different tuners might require different things. Now, the best thing and the thing that you want to do is actually go ahead and get the most wide range of RPM wide open throttle that you can, especially when you're trying to dial this thing in for racing and running wide open throttle. We're gonna do third gear full pull just to get a wide range from about 2,000 to 6,500 in third gear. Do a couple of those, and that should be more than enough data to really see what this car is doing and where we can adjust the tune to get it dialed just right. 2,500. And got a good pull in there. Nothing too bad. Everything's looking good. Wideband wise, looks pretty good, nothing too bad. Looks like the car is able to kind of compensate for the extra airflow. That just goes to show how good of a tuner Brett is, because he was able to get the airflow dialed in even with the headers on. Obviously there's always a little adjustment that can be made, but feels great. The car feels really good, very planted, and we'll try a couple more third gear pulls just to get enough data, get multiple data points, and then head back home. We'll look over the logs and we'll show you guys. One thing I'm interested in finding out is how much boost is the car running now. Woo! I mean, this thing is insane when the header hits. And let's go. Guys, feels amazing. I love it. Okay, well, there we have it, guys. If we look here at the orange and yellow line, the yellow line is what's commanding the air fuel that we want, and the orange is obviously where we're at. And you can see here when we're not wide open throttle, which is over here, it can be all over the place, but when you go wide open throttle, that's the big picture. You want those two lines to pretty much overlap. And sure enough, they do. And we can look at the boost, and we are at about 10 pounds of boost. So we're just seeing 10 pounds of boost out of this thing, guys. Yeah, pretty interesting. Don't really know that they're going to need to change much on the tune. One thing that I'll look at is the injector duty cycle and compare that to previous data logs, so that I can kind of get an idea of how much E I'm going to be able to use. I feel like with the headers, I'm going to have to maybe turn it down on the E content, or maybe I'll be able to get away with the E60 I was doing before. But overall, looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and send this off to Brett. He'll be able to give us the final say on whether the tune is good. He'll maybe make some tiny modifications, and then this thing will be ready to rock and go to the track. The ZL1 is rocking and rolling with the headers, intake, and E85 only. And basically, of course, the drag pack. So we'll do the drag pack, we'll take the passenger seat out, and once we get the thumbs up or the new revision tune from Brett over at Pre Performance, we'll be back at the track and hopefully get this thing dialed in to a 9.99 second pass, which is ridiculous to think about it, guys. ZL1 only intake headers, just basic bolt-ons, no ported blower, still stock pulleys, stock boost, and you guys saw it, 10 pounds of boost on this thing. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wish I would have had a little bit more information for you guys, showing you guys more of the process, but things happen. Life can come at you really hard, and you just got to find a way to figure things out and move on and get past it. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.